you're trying to play some Minecraft. And my goal for these streams probably like late at night for me. I think currently it being almost 5 a.m. Yes, 4:52. It's just to talk about things I feel like I have no one to talk to about. I want to see how far I could get in Minecraft while talking about the things I went through or things that I really don't understand at this moment. You know, kind of like let myself see how I kind of progress through talking about it and like seeing if anything could be better. So, in my opinion, I feel like it's a pretty cool, like a pretty cool experience. I'm gonna be playing on easy because I don't think I'll be really doing much. In a flat world, but so hopefully, um, I'm able to relieve a lot of built up things in my mind for at least a while, and I just feel like sometimes I don't have people. I know I have friends. I know I have people who care, like my mom, my sister, my dad, but they're just some things you can't really tell certain people, especially as in my opinion, guys can't really, well, not really like every guy, but like some guys can't really find the strength to kind of talk about how they feel, or they just feel like it shows, that they're weak in a way. But I'm mostly doing this just to be able to talk about my feelings, or just talk about things in general. But yeah, we're just gonna play Minecraft while I do it, see how things go, see if you know how far this world could go possibly, or see where this whole thing leads to. I don't know if I'm like doing it for a long time. Old content being like Fortnite and stuff back in when I was little. Back when I was like 16, I think, or 17, 20 now. Still play those other games, yeah, but not really anymore. But I feel like one of the first topics I really want to talk about just for myself is growing up. Growing up, in my opinion, it was good at some points. And some points, it also was, in my opinion, bad. I could say, you know, everything was good. Used to spend Christmas with both my parents. Uh, Growing up with both parents, and my sister coming, being born throughout like my childhood as well. But somewhere in between there was always issues between my mom and my dad, and it's just something I really don't talk about. And like I said, I never really talked about the things I'll be talking about now. Just arguments, stuff like that. Like there was one time, like I remember for sure I was like little because I remember living behind my cousins. They used to own well, they still own the house, but we used to live behind them in like a little second part home. Like it was a garage, and then like they had made a room out of that garage. I'm pretty sure it's still like that to this day. You I remember, you know, my mom and dad arguing over some. I'm pretty sure it was like a living space. This was like when I was like really little, so I really don't know much of the details. I remember much of the details, but you know, we used to argue and stuff here and there. light, in my opinion, like light stuff until like when I got slightly older. We were at church one time, and I remember witnessing my parents argue, and I forget what the argument was about. Like, what I do remember is my mom trying to like kind of stay at the church, you know, but my dad wasn't like letting her. I don't know for what reason. And I remember when things was going bad, like she had told her to close the door and stuff like that. And my mom was like, "No, I don't want to close the door. I don't want to go in the car with you. I don't want to be near you." Stuff like that. Just arguing basically. And I remember during that whole argument, my dad was like saying, "Oh, if you don't close the door, I'm gonna go." Like go while the door was open. So while the door was open, he did end up, taking off. And I remember it not too well, but I do remember just hearing and seeing my mom panic because he's turning almost at full speed. Basically, they like a U-turn. Like how people like how some buildings like come out, like you go out and then like on the other side there's a way to go in and a way to go out. I don't know what it's saying, but there's like you go in right here. Pretend this is the building right here. There's an exit and then the street goes doom doom and you go in like that. So he basically did a U-turn like this with my mom's door still open. I remember that's the first time I ever got like scared for my mom. First time I ever felt like I guess fear, you could say. I felt a type of fear because I was scared about the outcome, and that's something I really never told anybody. But I feel like I'll say it here because as of right now, there's no one. There's no one like in here. So that's one thing. From my childhood that I remember. Something I haven't really told anybody. But then also you have some other things that built up all along. Like I remember one of my good but also bad memories was my parents. They were going through more like my childhood was good like I said, but when my sister came around and after she had got older, it was like things were starting to head in a bad direction. In a way, like I'm not blaming my sister for the way my parents ended up. It's just sucks that everything kind of happened after she was born. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't know where I can go with that, I should say. But another thing being I feel like my parents used to just fight a lot, and I feel like it's been affecting me. Not before, but now it's affecting me more because I feel like I replicate that same anger that my dad used to have on people that I love to this day. Something it's just confusing to me because I do be lashing out on people that I love. I do be like getting upset, but not finding the words to say like I'm sorry, or not being able to kind of like say like apologize in the moment. I feel like that's a really big key thing that I want to work on. In right now in the current time, that's something I want to work on myself because I feel like I could really ruin relationships that I have right now. And I don't really have that many relationships. I'm not talking about like my girlfriend. I do have a girlfriend. And I love her a lot. But I'm talking about like I feel like me getting mad at like small things ruins my friendships. Cause I feel like I don't have a lot of people that like how I used to. I don't have any, like anyone to hang out with. You know, back when I was 17, I used to hang out with one of my friends. You know, almost every day, every night, and go out, stay outside for days at a time. You know, used to ditch school. You know, go out like what 6 in the morning. We'd be like literally we'd be up right now, just getting like not getting ready, but kind of like just on our phones, getting ready to like get ready to go skate. That was something that was pretty fun. I remember that pretty well. You know, it's just regular like middle schooler things, I guess, in my opinion. I don't know how I'm gonna be waking up that early, going outside, just like regular to other people, but for me it was like a way of same thing, like avoiding my parents fighting, because at the time they were still together when I had my friends, you know, going out. For me, it was a way kind of to like not see it, not see the arguments, not be able to be there when there were fights. So it would benefit me in a way of, you know, not having that bad mental space and seeing these arguments take place, seeing these fights, in my opinion, that made no sense. But yeah, those are some of the things I've noticed growing up that my parents would fight. Another thing I also took into, you know, I've noticed that before when I was getting older, I got like, you know, everyone got, I don't want to say everybody, but a majority of the Hispanics, I would say, got beat. And I'm not just speaking for Hispanics, I'm just saying, like, from what I know, mostly get beat, stuff like that, with, you know, for doing the wrong thing. They just want to raise us the right way, which I understand, but in my opinion, I feel like that doesn't work. Like, getting your kids in trouble and stuff like that, like, in the harsh way, would make them more rebellious, in my opinion. I feel like, because I feel like that's what happened with me. I'm not blaming my, you know, my mom or my dad for the way I turned out, or the way I was, you know, moving back then. But I feel like since they were strict and really like beating on me, yeah, I really couldn't have a good relationship with my parents, as like a lot of people do nowadays. You know, having the courage to say everything to their parents, having the courage to talk to their parents. I really don't have that relationship with my parents. Like I've been trying to have that relationship with my parents, but it's kind of hard because I'm so used to not talking. I'm so used to just staying quiet, really. I'm used to staying quiet. I'm used to, you know, just doing my own thing, if that makes sense. I've been doing my own thing since I was little. I didn't really, you know, expect any help from them, especially the way my dad used to raise me before I moved with my mom for a little bit after their divorce. And I used to, you know, come back from school and do homework. I used to get good. Well, yeah, I used to. I'm not in school anymore, but I used to get good grades. You know, my dad would like tell me, "Oh, you can do homework when you first get home. And at 6, you can go out, but be back by like 8." You know, but my friends were always gone by then. You know, they were always gone. They were always leaving. They were always, you know, down at skate park or down hanging out at like Skater Brothers, where I used to live. But now, you know, I understood. It helped me change my life around after all the bad grades I was getting. And at that time, like going back to like the whole beating situation, my dad would, you know, get mad at me and just, you know, of course, discipline, you know, that is discipline in my opinion. It's not a good form of discipline, but it's, you know, still discipline. So when he would discipline me, and like he would notice that he messed up, especially during like their little fights and stuff with my mom. There was one time where he got like those metal sweepers, Swiffer sweeper, whatever they're called, like that, like green metal rod with like the towels at the end. It's like kind of like a rectangle. He kind of just, you know, he hit me one of those because I remember that day we were supposed to go watch a movie. I'm not sure what movie it was, but he had told me to take the recycling cans, and I was getting ready, of course, you know, because we're going to the movies. You know, I was told to get ready. I was told to, you know, shower, you know, put something nice on, you know, regarding to, you know, going to go see a movie. And I remember I had forgot to put that, you know, put it away. So when he had seen that, like, we were about to leave, and like, you know, obviously what he asked to be done wasn't done. He had got upset with me, and he had hit me with the Swiffer that I was talking about, the little Swiffer things, and that ended up causing me a really bad bruise. Not like you know, colored bruise. I mean like a bruise that pops out. Like, you know, it was very swollen, very very noticeable. And I remember that when that happened, I was kind of panicking because it did look really bad because it was right on my elbow. So when it had swollen up, my elbow kind of was like sticking out. Like, you know, like where you bend your elbow, like right there, like that was all sticking out. It was all really noticeable. And I remember they were saying like, well, like we can't take him to the hospital because what if he says that we hit him, stuff like that. And I knew in my brain I wasn't gonna say that. I was probably gonna say something like, oh, you know, I fell or something like that, or I hit myself with like my skateboard at the time, or you know, something just to avoid getting him in trouble. And I feel like that's not good, you know, obviously, but I didn't want anything happening to my parents at the time. Yeah, he had hit me with the Swiffer, and I remember that they were just panicking. Like, they didn't want to take me to the hospital. They did want to, you know, make sure that my arm wasn't broken, because the way it was, like, you know, the way it looked, it just looked really bad. Like, it looked like he had did damage to me. Like, you know, he had did some damage, you know. But once we got everything checked out, come to find out, you know, it wasn't really that bad. But still doesn't, in my opinion, still doesn't justify what they did. But when growing up, all my dad did I feel like to justify the way he would, you know, beat me. You know, you could say that. You know, he used to justify it by like, you know, buying me things or like offer to give me stuff. Like, like, basically, he'd be like, oh, do you want something from 7-Eleven? Do you want something from the store? You know, kind of a way to, like, in his opinion, even out what he had done. Like, yeah, you know, I was a little kid, so I, you know, soaked it up and kind of like went along with it. But looking back, I feel like it wasn't the right thing for my dad to do. But I understand, you know, now as I'm older, that he didn't. I'm gonna assume he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know that it would affect me in the way that it does. He probably still thinks it doesn't affect me, you know? I never really talked to him about the way I feel, or my mom, because, you know, I just feel like I'm not close with them. I feel like there is definitely a part of me that wants to talk to them, but there's also a part of me that doesn't want to talk to them for the exact same reason of them not understanding me. You know, I feel like they wouldn't understand the way I feel, especially if I were to say it, because back when I had like a mental health kind of episode, you know, I was going through a lot. not just with family, but just in general, like just going through a lot. But when I was going through a lot, I had went to a psych ward, and I'm not sure, but it was a psych ward, like BHC, something around that. And they had evaluated me, gave me a hold, the week hold, I think. And from that week hold, obviously my parents came to go visit. This was like during COVID, mostly. Yeah, when they came to come visit, they were kind of just like telling me what you have isn't real, but not knowing like how I felt. They just believed that I was in a way faking it, like in a way like I wasn't really being truthful. I was just doing this all for a show. That's what they used to say, like it was just a show that I was doing. But in my opinion, like, being there actually helped me, because being around some people that felt the way I felt at times. I'm not saying everyone was like sad and depressed the whole time I was there, but I feel like being able to see that there was other people that felt like how I felt kind of like helped me in a way to realize that you're not alone in when it comes to mental health. There's a lot of people that do go through it. When I was there, I seen a couple kids go here and there. Seen a couple kids go through stuff. A lot. But yeah, it's the things I've experienced, being at the age of 20, where life is just still starting. But it feels like I've been through so much, even though a lot of people say that, oh, turning 21 or turning older from your teenage years is like your life barely starting. Like, in my opinion, I feel like, yeah, my life is barely starting, but my life also has contained a lot of already, in my opinion, hurt. I feel hurt from all these situations I've been in already. It's not just mental health wise, it's just things here and there, things happening while I didn't know what was going on. There's a lot of times where when I was little I didn't know what was going on, because of course I'm little. I don't understand like are we leaving the house? Why can't I go see my dad? I didn't understand what was going on at all. And I'm thankful that I am where I am now. I'm not in a bad spot or a good spot either. I'm just currently live with my mom. Hopefully, I get to leave soon. I don't want to. I feel like I disturb people here. I don't know. I feel like I'm in the way a lot. Because there be sometimes where I'd be accused of things that I used to do. Like, I can admit I did smoke. I did steal money from, people. I did get into a lot of trouble. Things that you're not supposed to be doing. And even though I have stopped, I feel like I have gotten better with not stealing, like in general, like even in stores, or even, stealing money from your mom, which I feel like I was, weak for doing that in the first place. But yeah, I just feel like I'm just a disturbance sometimes when I'm at home by myself. I feel like I disturb a lot of people. I feel like I'm in, like I said, I feel like I'm in the way. That's why I'm really bad at saving money, but I do save. I'm able to, have my money last, stuff like that. But I feel like, then again, I feel like I'm just a disturbance. I feel like I deserve people too much than I do help in this house, in my opinion. But I don't know. Like I said, I really don't have. I really don't have a connection with my mom to even like know how she truly feels that I'm here. Yeah, I know she cares to a certain point, but I also know that she wants me to, move out before I could be a better person. Start learning how to manage myself before, I get too comfortable where I'm at, which is something also, that I understand. Many times where she like brutally tell me that you need to save money and stuff like that, but it is hard. Like I know as a kid I got a lot of things, but they weren't things I wanted. I'm not ungrateful for, all the stuff I got when I was little, but I would rather have got like less things and got the things I wanted. But then again, I'm so ungrateful for everything that my mom was able to make happen. My dad was able to make happen. Yeah, it's just, to my opinion, it's just crazy. I still remember when I feel like one of my kind of like my opinion, my last Christmases where it felt like Christmas was, and it was me, my sister, my whole family was still together. Maybe they weren't good, maybe my parents weren't on good terms, but they were still, still trying to live together for us. That's probably the day when I first got my Xbox One. I remember that day so well. I remember waking up at like 6 in the morning, checking the Christmas tree, and there of course being nothing there because there just was nothing there. So I was like, damn, someone low-key forgot my house. That's what I thought at the moment. But then I remember waking up and seeing a really big box for no reason. I kind of was confused because we were opening presents by the tree. Well, normal tradition for people that celebrate Christmas. Open presents in the tree, see what you get. I remember, most of the gifts from my sisters. I remember being a little low-key jealous because, like, bro, where's my gift at, Trying to find out. Open my gift, it's just a big-ass Xbox. And, yeah, it was just one of, I say, a good memory that I have. But also, it feels like a bad memory because I feel like that's the last time. My parents were really together for a holiday. Yeah, that year, yeah, we did have New Year's together and stuff like that. But I feel like after that, that's where things kind of went downhill and things kind of took a turn for the worst, in my opinion, because, arguments, in my opinion, arguments was getting more physical. As a kid, they didn't really want to fight in front of us. So I remember that when I started to notice, them arguing and stuff, I would take my sister, take her outside, and try to distract her before she doesn't notice that her mom and her dad are fighting. Because when I started to notice it, it kind of was, in my opinion, it was kind of weird. Yeah, I thought like, oh, mom and dad are supposed to be, good with each other. But that's why I kind of started this world. I feel like talking about this, I really don't have anyone watching live right now, but hopefully later I would have more people join and be able to conversate. Hopefully, I was able to find out how other people felt, so I could see, so I could know myself that I wasn't alone in that situation, or I wasn't alone in the way I felt about my parents going through this. Not anyway putting me through it, but I want to know other people's POV just so I could see that I'm not alone. I know that's weird to say. I don't want to know about how people people felt bad. I just want to know how other people were able to deal with it. Because for so long I wasn't able to deal with it because I had blamed myself about the whole situation. Kind of didn't know how to feel about the whole situation. Yeah, we'll plant this here. And put that there. It's a cool spot to build. Okay. Go ahead and try to build a house real quick. And I feel like I'll call this not like the end of the stream, but like just kind of like a checkpoint of what I'm doing in this world. My goal is to hopefully be able to talk about everything, in the way I feel. Hopefully be able to express most definitely, and just say everything that I feel. That's what I hope to bring out of this whole, I guess, like series. Don't get me wrong, I do want to start this because I don't feel like I have anyone to talk to about this. Yeah, I have, friends here and there, but I feel like I'm not really close to anybody like that. Maybe close enough that I hang out with people, and it's not even what I be doing with my friends. We just be on the game lately. Always stream with them, or not stream. I really need to get back into streaming. I used to like doing this, interacting with people, getting to know people, and just chatting. I'm a really talkative person. I like to talk. I like a good talk, a good, chat. I like talking to people and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and take one of these. Wooden shovel, iron shovel. Hopefully the more this world comes up, not comes up, but like hopefully the more I stream on this world by myself, I feel like later on when I feel like I'm able to talk, to some certain people, like friends or, things like that, hopefully I feel like I could, start adding people in here so we can also talk about things like, we're going to be about things that make them sad or things that make them feel like like sad, I guess. I feel like what I'm talking about is the kind of the depressing topic that I do want to talk about more. Most definitely. Like maybe reminding myself, because I feel like there's some topics I have that I need someone to kind of like give me responses, especially with things I've been through that I feel like I haven't fully soaked in that it has happened yet, if that makes sense. Like there are certain things that I have, sadly came to experience and came to realize that, but I haven't had the chance to like really sit there and like take it all in. I mostly just sit here and just just try to ignore it. That's my opinion. That's my coping. I just try to ignore things. Try not to see things the way they are. That's not a good thing, but it's the way I operate. You could say. Well, not go to shovel efficiency. I'll take that. Just so nothing burns. Do this. H. I'll do this. I'll do that. And then let's put that bone. Sorry, Jimmy. I'll show more chickens. Okay, we got 3 chickens. Alright, so I feel like after I build this house, I feel like I will end the little episode, or whatever you guys want, you know, whatever people want to call it, phase, or this episode, whatever, you know. I'm gonna put everything in here. I'm gonna like reorganize my inventory like this in game, you know, just throw everything in there and just take out what I need, like this. Definitely need the wood. Definitely gonna use some jungle. I feel like I'm gonna use it like this. Kind of make a texture in the thing, you know. Not texture, I mean pattern. What I'm talking about. Kind of make a little pattern on the floor. I feel like I'm gonna go with this. Just this and some oak wood would be nice. A nice mix of colors in my opinion. Yeah, so then we'll be adding the oak, like oak planks like this, just like that looks kind of cool. Yeah, kind of like a little checkerboard, kind of. Yeah, a little checkerboard. We'll do this. Hopefully, yeah, iron. Go like this. Got an axe. I'm gonna go over here. Alright, cool. It's just oh yeah, it is. Okay, crap. There's some more oak. These should be oak too. I'm gonna chop these trees down. I feel like for next episode or next stream, whatever you want to call it, I feel like we'll try to, if we don't finish this, I feel like we should try to, what's it called, we try to go mining, get some, you know, some armor, because I will be wanting to switch this to normal, because I am a little Minecraft, scaredy cat. I'm scared of, you know, going normal first couple of nights, because, you know, I don't think I'm that good at Minecraft yet. I'm a decent player, but building I'm more, you know, more okay-ish, you could say. Damn. And my trees growing. Okay, they have, I need some saplings from over here. Or saplings that should be right here. So I had to reorganize my inventory. I don't know if y'all are watching this and y'all want to leave a comment. Well, let me know how you guys organize. I don't carry swords. I go axe, you know, pickaxe, bow, or, you know, axe, pickaxe, shovel, and then bow. I'm gonna be right here with the arrows in my inventory. But you know, let me know how y'all carry your guys' stuff. Kind of interested. I've seen some people that go sword, pickaxe, axe, shovel, or sword, bow, you know, bunch of, in my opinion, weird combinations. But let me know what y'all do if y'all would like to comment on, you know, if I want to interact with more people. I don't want fans, I don't just want friends. I want to be able to, you know, talk to people that feel like they're stuck in the same thing I am, where they can't express how they feel, and they just need like a gateway in a way. I feel like how I would like to be, you know, I would like to be a good way of helping you or helping anybody really be able to conversate and say or speak what they have to. So I know you can't really be saying everything to your parents. You can't really express a lot of things to certain people because some people might not see it the same way you do, and some people might, you know, think you're weird, think you're, you know, just people are just, you know, people just think things are weird if it's not normal to them. So I definitely want this to kind of be a safe space for people that want to talk, or safe space that people want to, you know, just kind of say anything, really. I want this to be a place you could really just come say anything, and, you know, it being just between me and the person. Don't drop anything? Okay. Like, you know, between me and the person, or me and the, you know, person on live, whatever. But I do also be streaming other things, you know, I could stream anything else if you guys would like to see. I'm quite decent at Fortnite, decent at Apex, I'm decent at Brawlhalla, but I have not touched that game in so long. So I don't expect myself to be the best when it comes to coming back to that game. Alright, cool. That's good, that's good, that's good. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get this furnace going. Go ahead, go right here. Go right here. Okay. Most definitely want to work on how this is gonna look, especially right here where the doors move. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so doors are like right here. Or yeah, doors will be like 3 and 2. 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, bring. Okay, what we need to do is go get more of the saplings for sure, so I can start re-farming. Start getting everything done. Definitely want to plant more trees. Yeah, kind of like a good thing going right here. Especially with this being where my house is gonna be, I want it to be surrounded by trees. Kind of like a forest vibe, you know, like, you know how like there's like a forest and like there's like houses in the middle all surrounded by trees. I want to go for that type of like aesthetic of where, you know, my house is gonna be in the game. More apples, we probably get some enchanted, not enchanted, but like, you know, some golden apples. More sooner. I mean, so yeah, sooner, hopefully, sooner than later. I don't want to be dying. I am known for dying a lot when it comes to mining, especially in caves with mobs, creatures, stuff like that. I'm not the best at combat when it comes to fighting mobs for some reason. Pretty good when it comes to fighting combat in like PvPs, like the old Minecraft servers and Xbox, where you would buy maps, buy DLCs and stuff like that. I remember I used to be really good at those. But yeah, at the same time, we're gonna go ahead, you know, I guess enough depressing talk of myself. So we just log in real quick and go ahead and show the, you know, play some actual Minecraft real quick for you guys. And go ahead and see what y'all might be watching for a while maybe, you know, if you guys decide to stick around, or whoever decides to stick around. I don't, you know. Okay, I'm going right here, right here, right here, right here. I just place up pretty well. somewhat of a good amount of lighting, I feel like, except right here. I need some lights right there. Go ahead, go to sleep for right now. You know, the world hopefully gets better as the streams go. You know, always these streams go getting better. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh no, oh no. Oh no, he shot me. Oh no, he shot me. Oh my god. I hate fighting skeletons that, you know, like aimbot or something. Crazy aim. Right here. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and turn these into this. Okay, we'll leave there because I want to have a window up front, you know, like right here. We go one up. I feel like this would be like a cool size window right here. Go right here. Boom, boom, boom. Alright, so we got that going. The glass. I feel like it's pretty cool in my opinion. You know, we could have like things like this. You know, of course in the front to kind of like give it a little bit more texture. So basically like that. So yeah, I feel like this is a good way to end. I will not be doing no off-stream mining. I will not spawning with full netherite next episode. So, you know, whoever's watching or whoever wants to watch this when it's over, hopefully have a good day, good night, get good rest, or get a good morning routine. You know, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying, but catch y'all later, and hopefully, you know, you guys are able to relate or anything. This helps. Hopefully this helps. And I appreciate everybody who's spent their time watching. Thank you.